Hello, A new challenger has appeared. Doomfist is in competitive. So, despite my better judgment, I, jumped into competitive to give him a go, as well as talk to some Masters players and do a little bit of data collection on how he's currently performing. And the answer is, well, he is having the biggest impact on competitive games out of any hero that's been released past the initial roster ever, because it's absolutely huge and meta-defining that he's causing every game to be a 5v5, because, oh boy, the flailing is real. No, he is actually doing really well, at least half the time. Let me start by saying this. Please don't go. I need someone to at least listen to me, or I stop existing. He has, by far, the biggest potential to either be a huge asset to your team, or non-existent. It's really quite ridiculous, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of, I'm Doomfist, charge in, fight me, why am I dead? And you're seeing it happen a lot. People just going for it and enjoying the fact that they feel powerful, having all their abilities on cooldown, and then running around in a circle like a headless Doom chicken, wondering why they're dying, what the hell, this character sucks. And you're seeing that a lot, but at the same time, when played with a little bit more finesse, when played how Doomfist should be playing, the results are really quite excellent, because he forces, well, an entirely different response out of the enemy team than really any other hero has done, because he is absolutely superb at an incredibly threatening hit and run playstyle. So what do I mean? Well, firstly, he's incredibly good at surviving fights. As soon as anything starts to go wrong, you shift your E and you're gone. But you won't be gone for long, and that makes people worry. I can't think of another thing to rhyme that with. And the point is, because you're always around, because you're so good at just choosing not to die, because you can appear anywhere at any time and you can kill them in over 700 ways, and that's just with your fist, people are always thinking, where is that psychopath grunting gonna come from? I've had it quite a few times where I've punched into a group of people, got a kill and escaped. There's been a Widow ulti on so I can see what the enemy team is doing, and there's an enemy soldier that is just staring up at entrances, at flanking points behind the team, through doors, and they're completely ignoring the fact that the rest of my team is attacking them from the other side, and they're getting decked in the back. And yes, of course, it makes sense on any hero that is a flanking hero that people are looking for you appearing, but I've noticed it way more on Doomfist than anyone else, and it's simply because the fist is so explosively, hi, bye, you're dead. And that is way more than any other hero. If a Genji suddenly appears behind your team, it's annoying, but he's not going to kill someone instantly. He's going to kill someone quick if he's really good, but there is reaction time, there is deal with. Whereas Doomfist, if the first time you know about him is when he's released right click, then you're dead, right? There's no reaction time as long as he's not hilariously inaccurate. So he's actually, by existing, creating a lot of psychological pain on the enemy. They don't know whether they're going to get fisted from the front, the back, from above, from below, through the floor. Doomfist used dig from below. Oh, but all of this possible fisting from all directions is very worrying and ultimately very painful for the enemy team to deal with, and that's really cool. You can feel the fear, and that's making him a lot of fun to play at the moment. Whether that's because he's new and people aren't completely used to him, which undoubtedly is going to be a factor, I don't know, but it's definitely there. It's throwing people off their game, and because of that, the resource commitment to stopping Doomfist at the moment is obscene. The amount of times I have been fully chased down for ages because they cannot stand the thought of me living and coming back and hit and running another support is ridiculous. I've had people chase me halfway across the map, 2-3 members of the enemy team, and while they obviously eventually get me, that means that the rest of my team is now taking the point that they're not defending, and I don't know why people are doing that. There is this seemingly permeating mentality of Doomfist gotta die. And that's kind of interesting to see, but as the Doomfist player, you really do well following this cyclical gameplay structure of, you know, get a nice little angle, sneak in from somewhere, immediately punch, kill a support, shift and E, and then you're gone. Because unless the enemy team has either a lot of the right heroes or ridiculous reaction, which let's be honest, at most ranks they don't, you're going to be in and out before they can even really react. You don't need the rest of your team to get those pick-off kills and still escape, which means that Doomfist has incredible solo carry potential, and he really is excellent at that, because he's also a hero that very much favors people like me who much prefer ability-based heroes over gun-based heroes. It's why I like Roadhog. It's no secret my aim is rusty as shit. I only ever had okay aim in Season 1 when I actually had time to focus and be good at competitive, whereas right now it's embarrassing, I admit it. And heroes like Doomfist and old Roadhog, where I only had to be good at using their abilities, which I unabashedly, at least with Roadhog, will say I was very good at, it was fantastic, because I could still very much contribute. So although I'm still very much not excellent at Doomfist, I am hitting a lot of punches and using the moves and getting results without really having to left-click that much, although I should be doing to be maximum effectiveness, but it's very cool that he is so ability rewarding, and he lets players like me play at an okay level with kind of trash tier aim, and that's a lot of fun. It's a very much different style of gameplay.
That's the best you can do!
So yeah, all in all, he's having a really cool effect. In terms of meta then, he actually has a real good chance based on current activity to just, well, become meta, to be a consistent pick, because he both really helps dive, because nothing's scarier than an angry monkey jumping on you except an angry monkey jumping on you followed by a giant metal fist, and he really helps support that because of the disruption. But then again, the disruption is also fantastic at countering dive, and the reason for that being that most people go, okay, dive is really good, that's what people are doing, I'm gonna do it too, and then I'll win. And people like that mean that they copy the meta, but they don't execute it really well. It's downright sloppy. They know to pick Winston and jump on the enemy team with their team super aggressively, but then once they get there, they're like, I didn't expect to get this far. And they kind of flail around a little bit, at least I'd say diamond and under, and you can really take advantage of that as a defensive Doomfist, because the Winston arrives, you immediately donk him away, and then it's kind of ruined their day, and they have to come up with a different play, and they're mostly thinking, no way, Jose. And because of the shift and the E, you can knock people up and away, you can make them have to get hopped in the air a little bit as they slowly float down, and it really displaces and throws these aggressive divers that aren't executing it properly off their game. So getting good at Doomfist right now, if you're not super high ranked, is actually a really good way, again, to solo carry yourself a little bit and actually raise some ranks. It's quite effective on both attack and defense. Although talking of defense, the advent of Doomfist actually helps a lot of heroes. Still not Hanzo or Widow too much because they're not good enough outside of picking off Doomfist, but if you look at someone like Junkrat, who I have been playing a lot recently and practicing, he's my next hero I actually want to get, you know, air quotes, good on, he might very well see popularity if Doomfist ends up being as good as he is projected to be, because he is so exceptionally good at dealing with both Doomfist and sloppy dive. The trap itself is self-explanatory, it completely denies him, but him having this explosive area coverage with the mobility that he does as long as you're positioned correctly, you can really blanket the area the enemy is dived on with the bombs, and they're just going to walk into them and die. It happens constantly. He wasn't used before because of this, because it's not good enough compared to other heroes, but that on top of him being a really good Doomfist counter, if Doomfist does become as meta as we're predicting, then suddenly Junkrat he's still going to be niche, but he might be a very good niche pick at countering Doomfist dive, and that's kind of exciting. We might see a little bit of a shift, and the thing is, him being good at countering badly executed dive is no bad thing, because obviously at every different skill bracket, you're going to have a slightly different meta, because different skill levels can execute different strategies at different rates. I mean, that's obvious, right? It's why people in Silver shouldn't just be copying what the top 500 are doing. It doesn't work like that. So for a lot of the levels people are going to be playing at, if you're a good Junkrat and you're on defense, enemy team has a Doomfist, they've picked Winston, you know what they're going to do? Honestly, pick that Junkrat and see what happens. I've been having absolutely excellent results with him, and it's also a really lot of fun, because the trap, again, I have to keep mentioning it, the reaction it gets is, huh? Why can't I move? I don't understand. Because you don't see Junkrat. You can see the confusion in people's faces when the Winston dives in and lands in a trap. It's absolutely hilarious. It's just fantastic. It's catching so many people off guard, especially the Doomfist themselves. So, yeah, I'm excited that it's kind of giving Junkrat, amongst other people, a little bit of a fresh breath of life. So, yeah, Doomfist really doing good things at the moment. Seeing him both excel and fail spectacularly, and honestly, that's exciting for a new hero, because for the next few weeks, competitive is going to be a wild ride, as it undoubtedly shifts a little, at least at the more middling ranks, and I'm kind of happy about it. I'm actually enjoying playing it a lot more than I used to be, despite the, well, failure fear that I have been feeling recently. And actually, this is something that I want to touch on just a little bit at the end here, but how many of you ever do feel this? Do you ever not do something in Overwatch because you're, I don't want to say afraid, like, oh my god, but you know what I'm saying, right? Afraid of failure. How many of you go to click on the Q competitive, but then kind of have a, oh, what if I get awful teammates? What if I do really badly? What if I can't play my favorite hero? What if I lose? Oh, and then hesitate or don't, or have like a Q competitive moment, because I've started noticing that with a little bit myself recently, less so now that I have Doomfist to play, but I don't know, I think it's definitely there. I mean, you can see it on a more micro level when people are not throwing hooks out on Roadhog, when they're not firing Xayah ults, they're not using D.Va ults, because they kind of have this, what if I waste it? What if I fail with it? What if I don't use it well enough? What if my team has a go at me? What if I ended up completely wasting our chance and I'm disappointed in myself? And I feel like a lot of people hold back because they're concerned that it's going to go badly, instead of hoping or at least expecting it to go well. Maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, and generally the better player you are, the less this affects you, but I bet it still affects everyone on some level. The absolute pressure and the atmosphere to do well in competitive, I think, fosters this, and I don't think Doomfist is really helping. In fact, I feel like he's kind of catch-22ing himself, because now when you pick Doomfist, people are already gaining the mentality of, fucking Doomfist picker, what a waste of time, we've lost this game. The Doomfist player is then like, oh, okay, so they start to have this, like, I gotta do well then, but because they're thinking they gotta do well, they start playing super safe, they don't want to die, which kind of goes against Doomfist's ethos and what makes him do well. So because they fear failing on him from both their own perspective and the teammates, they ironically do end up failing on him, and it's something I've noticed quite a lot, and it results in a lot of hesitant players that just don't go in, don't use moves, when honestly it probably would have been fine because of this what if. Is that something you guys ever noticed, or done yourself? In fact, I had it most recently with the Lucio gameplay in my Lucio ball discussion. I knew I sucked at Lucio, so I didn't want to play him. I was there going, oh, this is awful gameplay, what am I doing? But I've got to play Lucio, right? I'm talking about Lucio, and it ironically made me have a really, really awful Lucio gameplay for you guys. I mean, it wasn't completely trashed, we won the game, I did okay, but it certainly wasn't Lucio player good, which it shouldn't, because I'm bad Lucio, I don't play him, but it ended up making a lot of people angry how bad that was, and it's kind of well, that, because imagine if I was in a ranked game with Lucio, the teammates being angry at me is you guys being mad at the lack of quality Lucio gameplay. While I'm here though, actually, what would you guys prefer? A relevant hero gameplay to the discussion that isn't as good, or I just play one of my good heroes and have actual good hero gameplay? I'm always kind of unsure at that, but yeah, basically, don't not do something in ranked because you're worried about your teammates or you're worried about failing. Just go for it. Every opportunity you don't take is one that you guarantee you don't succeed at. You've got to keep that mentality. Hell, I have it with videos all the time. In fact, I'll leave you with this because I don't know why I did this. But the other day I was like, I wonder what a game of Doomfist would be like if I edited out every part of the game where I wasn't using Rocket Punch. Yep, I actually had that thought, and it ended up looking like this. Failure. Look, enjoy. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe for more, but look, just look at this. Just look at this. A good boy.